Emotional squad, these Bruins, who dominated Washington and swept them in 4 games. In the 240 minutes of the series, Washington led only 3 minutes and 26 seconds, and that was in the very first game. Let's get some other thoughts on this series, first with Bill Clement.
Well, Mike, I think I'll talk about the Boston Bruins. We talked about some keys, and we have to start with the play of Andy Moog. I mean, goaltending in the playoffs is always one of the keys, and when you take a look at Andy's numbers, he allowed a total of 6 goals in 4 games. That means his goals against average was 1.5. He was definitely a key to victory here against the Washington Caps. Another one of the keys, and I start talking about this in October, maybe November, it's team defense. It's the ability to keep the puck out of your net. Well, Andy Moog was a big part of that, but also the people that played in front of him played an inspired defense. That's why they were ranked #1 in the regular season. I think the third key was discipline for the Boston Bruins. I mean, they turned the other cheek so many times that they're bruised and battered, and they lost a lot of the battles, but they won the war because Mike Milbury has these guys understanding that revenge comes in the form of victory and not in the form of retaliation. So the Bruins are going to be tough in the finals. With more thoughts on the Washington Capitals' perspective on this series, let's join John Davidson. John?
You know, we talked a lot about the players and how well they played, the discipline they showed, but I think Boston, you have to go back to the beginning of the season. The new head coach, Mike Milbury, had words for his team. He didn't want a team that was going to play roughshod, that was going to go out and start fights before the puck was dropped on face-offs and start things after whistles. The team was the second least penalized team in the league, team that was #1 on defense, and you have to look to Boston to have a tremendous final. It should be a lot of fun. The Boston Bruins look very, very sharp. Let's go to you, Jigs.
Well, John, the guy that I think of tonight is General Manager Harry Sinden, who's waited very patiently, put together a team, and 3 acquisitions during the season. 2 late from the Philadelphia Flyers, Brian Propp and Dave Poulin, and, of course, the acquisition of Dave Christian from the same Washington team. Is he a genius, or does he just pick the pockets of some other teams and put together a very, very good hockey team that, as I said before, will be a very forceful effort when it gets around to the Stanley Cup final? They are a good team. Mike Emmerich?
So the finals will open in Boston, where the Bruins have won 8 straight games. Who will they face? Well, a step closer will be taken to that answer tomorrow night. Series even at 2, Game 5 at Edmonton, 9:30 Eastern on Sports Channel America with Pat Foley and Dale Talon. Coming up next, Darrell Burnett and Betsy Ross with Sports Nightly. For Jiggs McDonald, Bill Clement, and John Davidson, Mike Emmerich saying good night from the nation's capital.
Big hand in tonight's victory. Kevin?
All right, Terry, thanks very much. Joining me now, Craig Janney had a couple of assists tonight, and I'll tell you what, you mentioned it was a sweep, but it was certainly not an easy sweep. This 4-0 deficit is going to be very deceiving when everybody starts writing about this in a few years and saying that the Boston Bruins swept their way to the Wales Conference Championship. And Craig, tell me, first of all, what was the difference between this series and the one against Montreal?
Well, it was the same type of series. I think we just got a lot more bounces, and unfortunately for Washington, they were missing 2 of their top players. When you're missing Dino Ciccarelli, Kevin Hatcher, 2 cogs in their machine all year, it's going to hurt. And they tried to suck it up, but it seemed like we got the breaks. We were getting the 2-on-1s, and we were finishing a little more than they were. And that's obviously the difference. Both goalies played great, and we just seemed to finish our chances a little more than them.
Let's talk about the scoring tonight. Of course, Boston comes right out of the chute. First minute of play, John Carter nails one from Bobby Carpenter. Now, when you're watching that and you see Liut stick that thing out, was that a mental miscue on his part, or was that the only way he could direct that puck straight out in front?
You'd have to ask Mike, but I think he just reacted and pushed it out, and that's what happened. And that's the game. The game's all reaction, and unfortunately for him in Washington, he made a bad decision, a bad reaction, and Johnny was able to snipe it home.
Now, to the second goal of this game, Cam Neely parked right out in front. You and Haygood get the puck to him. On the power play, Courtnall was off for elbowing at the time. Now you take the 2-0 advantage, and you seem to be on a roll. They cut it to 2-1. Now, Neely gets another goal, this time from you and Brian Propp. You get the puck to Propp in the corner. Was that one of the most unbelievable centering passes you've ever seen?
Unbelievable look by Proppy. That's why I want to congratulate him, not Cam, after the goal, even though Cam made a hell of a one-timer on a backhand, which you don't see. But Proppy made a great look to Cam, and that was a big goal for us. It's 2-1. I'm sure they're going to come out flying in the third, and we get a quick one on them and kind of put them back on their heels. So that was a big one. Cam, that's what he's known for, and that's what he gets paid the big bucks for, as to score big goals for us, and he's been doing it all year, and he continues.
Now, in the third period, the Washington Capitals finally get one in the back of the net on you guys in the third period of play. That had been your period. It had been the key period throughout this series where you outplayed them in the final stanza every time. They cut it to 3-2. Now what do? Do you turn up the screws a little bit on defense, or you just sit back and really protect your goaltender?
You'd like to say, let's go attack, 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 but everyone's human, and you want to protect that lead. Everyone starts watching the clock, and you're just trying to count down the minutes. And fortunately for us, we held on. Morgan made some big saves. We played some solid defense, which we've been doing the whole series and the whole playoffs, and then we were able to hold on and get a nice win and hopefully get some nice rest before we have to face someone.
Now, how important is that rest? Of course, the Edmonton and Chicago series all tied at 2 apiece. That's a best of 2 out of 3 affair. So the final won't start now till next Friday, I believe. So you guys got plenty of time to lick your wounds. What's going to happen in practice now? You're just going to get a couple of days to get a nice blow here and then go back and just have a good, solid, fundamental practice session?
Absolutely. We'll probably take 2 or 3 days off. We have a lot of guys with a lot of bumps and bruises and a lot of sores, and we'll come back and thinking, let's win the cup. That's what we're here for. This was nice, but we want to get to that final step. 2 years ago, we were, in the finals against Edmonton. We got swept, and everyone had a taste of it that year. Now we want to win the big one.
So it would be sweet if you wound up facing Edmonton again with a chance to return the favor.
Be sweet to play anyone and win, and that's all we're hoping for right now. We're just going to try and get ready, get prepared, watch some films, and see what happens.
One other thing, it was a very physical series, and tonight you got a big blow when Bob Beers went down with the broken femur. Now, how do you replace him on the wing?
Well, we'll see. It's going to take some time.
All right, obviously we're having some audio problems there, but we'll try to correct that. Check in with Kevin in a minute or two, but right now we're going to take a break. When we come back, more stuff. Keep it tuned to SNN for the very latest in sports.
Has just been tremendous in goal for the Boston Bruins during this playoff series. He's just done a fantastic job, and really? I'll tell you, he's standing by right now.
Giving up just one third period goal to the Caps in the 4 games in which they swept the Caps aside. Gave up only 1 goal, in which it was an even strength goal. The others are either shorthanded or power play goals. So.
Okay, well, Andy Moak standing by right now with Kevin Christopher at the Cap Center. Kevin?
All right, Charlie, thanks very much. Of course, Andy Moog, what a huge part he played in this 4-game sweep. As we mentioned earlier, the sweep was by no means easy. He was severely tested throughout the series. A lot of credit to your defense on this one as well, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Tonight was unbelievable as far as scoring chances for the Washington Capitals are concerned. Just eliminated any kind of good scoring chances they had. They had a couple they capitalized on, and I made a couple of saves, but I mean 4 or 5 throughout the game is not really what a team would like to produce.
Yeah, Washington really came out throwing the puck at net, particularly in the second period. Then all of a sudden they seemed to abandon that strategy. Was that something that you guys did? They started to dump it in the corners after that. That wasn't working, throwing it right at you.
Yeah, well, I think what happens is when you're trying something and you're not getting any kind of reward for it, you look to do something else, and that's a sign of a good team. Is if something's not successful, they're going to try something else, and they tried to work it down low and bring it out from behind the net, and to tell you the truth, it paid off with a couple goals. But unfortunately for Washington, it was just a little too late.
An extremely physical series, a little bit different perhaps than the Montreal one, but you guys have approached all these playoff series the very same way. We keep hearing the word around that the Boston Bruins are playing a restrained kind of hockey. Is that the right word, or perhaps discipline a little closer?
I think that both can be applied in different situations. We have to show a lot of restraint in situations where we may be getting a power play and we don't want to retaliate in order to even up the situation and eliminate a power play, and then we're showing some discipline in making some smart plays and not trying to get too fancy. Both words really apply to the team because we've tried to use both areas as far as winning hockey games are concerned.
I talked to Craig Janney a moment ago about the rest that you have coming up now. By virtue of the sweep, you're going to have plenty of time. The guys, they're going to have time to lick their wounds and the bruises will heal and all that stuff. But how important is this rest to the hot goaltender? Would you rather keep going and play a game a night from now, or would you rather just sit back and reflect on the success so far and then get ready for the final?
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind the rest right now. We had a week off after the Montreal series, and we came out, played some pretty good hockey over these last 4 games, and the rest, like you said, will help us to heal and get ready, and we just have to be prepared when the games start. I don't think we can use days off as an excuse. We just got to be ready to play hockey.
Now I got to get one more comment from you, because Craig, I want to see if you agree with me on Brian Propp digging that puck out of the corner out front to Cam Neely for the 3rd goal. Was that one of the best centering passes you've ever seen in playoff hockey?
That play all around was amazing. Brian did an unbelievable amount of work prior to getting to that puck. I think it gets lost in the shuffle as far as seeing the play, but he did an unbelievable amount of work to get to that puck and just have a chance to pass it out. And he was really working hard in the third period, and it showed and it paid off. And you know, he had his head up. A lot of people think that might be a blind pass, but I saw the replay, and he did have a look to the front of the net to see Cam open, and you know, it was just such a bang-bang play. Nobody could do anything about it.
You know, Edmonton and Chicago were tied at 2 apiece. Their series is now a best 2 out of 3 situation. A couple years ago, they swept Boston in 4 straight. I'm sure it'd be nice to get back at them and kind of have a shot to return the favor, but who do you feel you match up better against, Chicago or Edmonton?
Well, I think that both hockey clubs teams have explosive offenses, and that's something that they've won hockey games with throughout the season. They've got a lot of scoring and a lot of ability to put the puck in the net, but right now they're trying to win it on sound defense and being opportunistic and taking advantage of the other team's mistakes. So I think both teams are very similar. Maybe that's why they're having such a battle in that series, is they both play the same style.
All right, Andy Moog, here's a guy who's got a goals against average in the playoffs of less than a deuce. And he was also, of course, one of our SNN BMW Athletes of the Week. He keeps this up, he's going to win the car at the end of the year. Let's go back to you guys at the studio.